Hello everyone and welcome to Procurement in the Park. I'm Christian Schuh and today I want to continue my ongoing and occasional series that draws inspiration from my novel The CPO. In today's episode, I want to stress how important it is that CPOs and the procurement teams proactively manage the performance of suppliers before, during and long after the actual contract negotiations. As you may remember, in the CPO, I tell the fictional story of Thomas Sutter, the CPO of Heartland, a US convenience foods corporation. Much of the novel tracks his daily battles to transform the way the company operates. He suffers some setbacks, but bit by bit he makes progress. And then, one day, he has a real breakthrough. He gets a call from Laura, one of his rising star managers. She tells him that one of the key suppliers has come back with a revised and much improved offer after facing a grilling from a Heartland team comprising people from procurement, manufacturing and other functions. Prior to this, the supplier had skillfully played one function off against the other. Now, the supplier was given no wiggle room. That's because Laura had brought all of Heartland's essential functions together in a half-day internal workshop, secured agreement on a unified negotiation stance and undertaken comparative analysis of the supplier and its competitors. Thomas is pleasantly surprised because in so many companies, the CPO only gets involved with suppliers when the contract has been all but signed and sealed by the design engineers who are responsible for creating a product that works, and the product marketers who are responsible for ensuring that the product is something customers will want to buy. In this situation, CPOs can do their best to get the best possible price using all the tools they can. For example, auctions, game theory, teardowns and should cost analysis. But ultimately, their hands are tied by decisions made earlier. They can do little more than tweak the small print of a contract that is essentially pre-agreed. And that's not the end of the bad news. Almost as soon as the ink is dry on the contract, the supplier's costs start to creep upward. Indeed, by our calculation, the average cost creep between the time when a company awards a contract to a particular supplier and the start of production is an astonishing 7%. And it gets worse. The flawed process means that suppliers routinely make implausibly low bids to win contracts, in the knowledge that they will be able to increase the prices as the product is modified in the months ahead of the launch. Indeed, we calculate that most companies never actually pay the supplier what was agreed on when the contract was signed. They generally pay more. In other words, the contract is not worth the paper it is written on. It was partly to explain what's really going on that I and my colleagues from Boston Consulting Group wrote Profit from the Source, published last year by Harvard Business Review Press. In the book, we use this chart showing the full extent of a product's life cycle. As you can see on the left side of the straight line running through the middle of the chart is a diamond dot marking the beginning of the process, the concept development stage. On the right side is another dot marking the end of the process, or EOP, or end of production. In between, there are dots for the awarding of the contract and SOP, or start of production. Above that line is another dashed one representing the cost of the project. For the first part of the chart, the cost line stays flat and consistent with the top-down cost target set by the company's CFO. It does so because the design engineers are, at this early stage, focused exclusively on developing the concept. The cost of the project is the last thing on their minds. As the product starts to take shape, the engineers make the first cost estimates, and it is at this point that the cost line curves sharply upward. When the procurement managers are finally invited to participate in product development, they must focus on choosing the supplier that offers the lowest possible price. As you can see in the chart, the procurement team can pass the cost curve down as low as they like, but it's little more than a magician's trick. I liken it to pulling a rubber band at one end. The other end, representing the real cost of making the product, won't fundamentally change. And in time, the rubber band will spring back to its original correct position. So what's the solution? One solution is to establish a robust mechanism for ongoing monitoring of suppliers, namely the quarterly business review. This is something that big tech companies use to great effect. There, every quarter, a multifunctional team meets with the representatives of the supplier. At this meeting, the supplier is given blunt feedback on its ongoing performance against such key indicators as time, cost, quality, innovation, and sustainability. In follow-up reviews, the supplier is expected to report on its progress. Since its quarterly performance informs decisions about future business, the supplier tends to be diligent in finding ways to deliver cost savings. While underperforming suppliers may find this rigorous process daunting, those with a good track record appreciate it. They understand that commendable performance will lead to continued and additional business opportunities. This system fosters a tight-knit relationship between a supplier's day-to-day performance and the volume of business they are awarded. For suppliers, this model encourages them to prioritize customer satisfaction and invest in strategic initiatives like automation, knowing well that the efforts will be rewarded. Now let's draw a contrast with the operational model of traditional industry companies. In such settings, a supplier's shortcoming in delivery performance or the demands for cost increments may go unchecked due to numerous individual projects and the vested interests of engineers. These suppliers could still secure additional business. This scenario affects the supplier's outlook significantly. Unlike their counterparts in tech companies, suppliers to traditional industries face uncertainties in securing additional business, regardless of the performance or investment in automation. Key performance indicators like delivery performance and quality are mere thresholds to meet, not avenues for earning more business. Consequently, suppliers to traditional industries, like the automotive industry, might hesitate to fully commit. In conclusion, adopting a proactive and collaborative approach towards supplier management, similar to the practices in big tech companies, can lead to a more fruitful and transparent supplier-buyer relationship. Thank you for watching. I'm Christian Schuh and this is Procurement in the Park.